Hey you, and welcome. My name is Mike. And in this whole video, we are heading off to Los Angeles, the most ironically named city in the world, to look at a couple of Sementillis. This is truly a twisted story, and twisted in all the right ways, but also all the, right ways for a story, wrong ways for real life. It involves, the first half of the name I just mentioned. It involves racquetball. It involves letters you would slap a hand to. It involves a hairdresser to the stars in Hollywood. And it also involves a horrendous murder. It also involves your favorite, why'd she do that? You know what? Let's just give it a go. In a little-known place called Los Angeles, there was a man, but he was more than just a mere man. He was a hairdresser, but not just a hairdresser or a snip, barber to Joe Soaps like me and you. Nope, no sorry, Bob. He was hairdresser to the beauty and famous in Los Angeles. Sure, look at you. He was Fabio Sementilli, and he was an outrageous fella, full of the joie de vivre, which is French, I believe, for full-time mad bastard. He worked on such luminaries as people the media tells you you're supposed to care about. But he was on the movie sets, on the entertainment talk shows, always behind the scenes, doing the chop to somebody who's supposed to look good, with his wife Monica Sementilli always by your side. See, Fabio's gig was a hairdresser. He'd give you the old mop chop, while Monica, his wife of 20 years, she did the sound of makeup.
I've traveled the world. I've been so fortunate. I don't deserve any of this, but the stylist that I have touched over my life has been just so rewarding, and I hope they also remember that maybe I gave them a hand or gave them a leg up, or maybe some good advice. That's kind of the mumbo-jumbo personal business, but
they were this entertainment, behind-the-scenes power couple. Two friendly, famous faces in Hollywood.
Merry Christmas, everybody!
They won awards, were this pair of celebrated beauty executives. They were role models to people who wanted to break into that industry, and Fabio was somebody who was very, very beloved by, basically everybody who knew him, everybody he met. He was always there, ready to give people a hand, help them break into this industry, and just be a mentor to, the up-and-comings.
It's one client at a time, it's one show at a time, and it's one good deed at a time. Make sure you pay it forward. It'll pay off in the long run.
Fabulous Fabio and Monica had two kids together, Jessica and Isabella. Fabio, he also had a son, Luigi, from a previous marriage. And Big Daddy Sementilli was going strong at 49 years of age in 2017. Sure didn't he often post on his own YouTube channel, doing his Fab Style Fridays.
Hey everybody, Fab here for Fab Style Fridays. I hope this message finds you all doing well, and thank God it's Friday. And for those of you who are just finishing your day, have a great end to Friday. And tomorrow, as you know, it's Money Day, so have a great day, guys. Okay, maximize it. Be smart and be strong tomorrow in those salons, in the stores, or wherever you're working.
Alrighty then, my friends, I need to discuss something with you that's very serious, and that is you and your well-being. Any old aches or pains you want to tell your old buddy, old pal about? We all have them from time to time. Sometimes they go away, sometimes they don't. And it's when they don't, that's when you need an expert on hand to help you out. But yikes! Finding a doctor, calling them up, being put on hold, making an appointment, that could be weeks out when you need help right now. It's not truly ideal, right? For example, I had a toothache not too long ago, and I kept hoping it would go away by itself, but no dice this time. And after being in pain for days, hoping this would sort itself out, I finally called my dentist, who told me, keep waiting, buddy. The earliest appointment, a week away. But I could use help kind of, now. Unfortunately, it's the case for a lot of us. I know we've all been there. It's frustrating. You want to take care of yourself, go see a professional who knows what they're talking about, but oftentimes these systems can feel like they're just not on your side. We'd all probably see doctors more often if it weren't so stressful to find somebody who's available, who will take your insurance, and who doesn't make you wait weeks to be seen. That's where today's sponsor, ZocDoc, comes in. ZocDoc is a free website that makes booking a healthcare appointment feel like less of a battle. You can search and compare high-quality, in-network doctors, choose the right one for you, read verified patient reviews, and book an appointment instantly. No awkward phone calls, no being put on hold, no stress. Whether you're looking for somebody to take a gander at your chompers, like me, talk to you about mental health support, talk to you about that mole that kind of wasn't there but now it is there, muscle pain, back, bones, whatever you got going on inside you, ZocDoc has over 100,000 providers across nearly every specialty. When you're talking to somebody about health issues, you really want someone you can trust, someone who will take you seriously, someone who you know will help. You want meaningful and accurate advice rather than somebody who will just leave you with more questions. ZocDoc makes the process of finding a great, trustworthy doctor easy and accessible for everyone. With ZocDoc, you can filter for doctors who will take your insurance, who are located nearby, and who are highly rated by verified patients. Best of all, you can actually see which doctors have open appointments, which is truly a game changer. You get to see real-time availability and book something that works with your schedule. Plus, ZocDoc appointments happen fast, typically within just 24 to 72 hours of booking. You can even score same-day appointments. You don't even have to talk to anybody. Just book with a few clicks. If you're in a situation like me and you want to see a doctor without the wait times, without the phone tag, make sure to check out ZocDoc. Did I mention it's free? Because it's like absolutely free. So stop putting off those appointments and take care of yourself. Go to ZocDoc.com/thatchapter or click the link in the description to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. Big thanks to ZocDoc for sponsoring this whole video. Now, let's get back to the case. So, when this 911 call came in, January 23rd, 2017, I mean, listen for yourself. You can hear the absolute horror on the end of the line as 16-year-old Isabella Sementilli walked into the rear of her house in Los Angeles and found her dad, Fabio, in, not the best, not the way I think anybody would want to find a family member.
Now listen, you were in death now? We're just trying to make you okay. Wait, Mom. Okay, now, do you know what happened?
This was just before 5 p.m. in the Woodland Hills neighborhood of LA. Isabella had just come home from school and walked through the rear of the house and saw her dad, sitting outside in his favorite chair. At first, she was thinking he was there just chilling, smoking a stogie. But Fabio was not chilling. He was chill. He was cold, he was dead, and he was absolutely drenched, covered in blood. His own blood. The EMTs, they rushed to the scene, but by the time they got there, there was nothing they could do. By the time Isabella even found him, he was already long gone. Fabio Sementilli had been murdered in his own backyard, sitting in his chair, just absolutely covered in blood. He had been stabbed to death.
49-year-old Fabio Sementilli, a well-known hairdresser in the industry, he was fatally stabbed at his Woodland Hills home. Investigators say his body was found Monday evening and that he had been stabbed several times in the neck, also the chest area. His black 2008 Porsche Carrera reportedly stolen from his home. Detectives have not revealed if this was a home invasion robbery that turned deadly or if the Canadian-born hairstylist was targeted for some other reason. Sementilli wasn't just a well-known hairdresser, but he also dedicated much of his time to mentoring others in his field.
And get a load of this, right? There was actually a trail of blood coming from the backyard where Fabio lay, going all the way through the house into the bedrooms. The bedrooms had been ransacked, all the drawers and all that stuff pulled open. Cash had been taken, about $10,000 was stolen, along with some jewelry. So, I mean, was this a burglary gone wrong, perchance, you say? I mean, possibly it would have been. I mean, it was just so violent, it seemed strange. But had burglars broken in, you've been surprised finding Fabio there. Maybe they thought the house was empty, and not knowing what to do, they went for the worst possible option, which was stabbing him to death before they ransacked the house. If that had taken place, a burglary gone wrong, well, it doesn't go much more wrong, I think you'll agree, than that. That's like the worst possible outcome. But why murder before robbing the place. I mean, for example, like if you think there's two burglars, they think a house is empty, so they break in, and then they find, a person there, realize the house is occupied, they might be like, maybe we should just, like, bounce or something. Them killing him first and then going in was, it's worrying. I think I can safely say that's worrying. Fabio also still had on his wrist an expensive watch, a Rolex. Whew. That was still there, though, when the scene was discovered by his daughter, Jessica, it's believed to be about an hour after he was killed. I mean, it's possible that the burglars had missed the expensive watch, which you think they would take. There was a lot of blood there, so, that can kind of cover things up a little bit. This was in an upscale part of the city, so juicy burglar territory, but still, murder was a far cry from a simple breaking and entering, especially one as vicious as had been done to Fabio. The investigation began, and one of the first things investigators noticed was that the garage, it was open. The door of the garage was open, and Fabio's beloved Porsche was gone, likely stolen by these burglars. Another thing the investigators would soon discover was that they had a housekeeper, the Sementillis. The housekeeper, by the time Fabio was murdered, had already come and gone, so therefore any things that they found out of place or any kind of mess would have been done by these burglars turned murderers. For example, there was an empty bottle of vinegar in the sink, which is sometimes used to clean things up. Round of applause for that though, because there was blood absolutely everywhere. So was this a simple, not so simple case of a burglary gone wrong? They break in, they murder Fabio, they rifle through this stuff, and then they steal his car and they make a hasty getaway. Police spoke with Fabio's wife, Monica, who walked them through everything that had led up, the day of the murders. Like they'd gotten up, that day, business as usual. Their youngest daughter, 16-year-old Isabella, who would be the one to discover the scene, she had left first. She had gone to school. Then Monica and their other daughter, Jessica, had gone to the local gym, worked out for a few hours, come home. Then Jessica, she had gone off for work. Monica, then she had a few rounds to do. She'd gone to a Target, a couple of other stores. All the while, Fabio was at home. He was working though, like on his iPad, on his phone, taking calls, emails, that sort of thing. Then Isabella was the first person home. She discovered the scene. Monica, arriving just minutes after Isabella called. While Isabella was actually on the line with 911, that's when Monica came home.
You have a camera system, right? Yeah. Good. Okay. What kind of camera system do you have? Cameras were on today?
Yeah, they were.
So you have access to it on your phone?
No.
We're going to do everything in our power to find out who did this. There's video everywhere. We're going to start with that.
What am I going to do?
You guys are going to be able to get through this okay, right?
Now, as a wealthy area, there were plenty of security cameras in the neighborhood, and catch suspicious folk up to no good they did. Gotcha, bastards! Now, there had been a spat of burglaries in the area recently, so was this just another one of those? I mean, like that, but it's up there, up a notch, that much of a notch. Thing was, the Sementillis had their own DVR home security, and that was gone. The goon, or goonettes, let's not be sexist here, had stolen the darn thing, so they clearly knew what they were doing by making sure there would be no footage of them doing their thing being nasty evil shit. Thing was though, although they didn't have these two likely people who were running towards where the Sementillis' house was, they didn't have them actually in the house. I mean, judging by how they're dressed and their movement and covering up, it's very unlikely they were knocking on the door to tell you about the Lord and Savior. Something tells me that was not their jam. About 30 minutes after these two were seen legging it up the road towards Fabio's, his pride and joy was seen driving away. The Porsche was actually recovered a couple of days later, only a few miles from Fabio's home. A nearby camera had caught the Porsche being left there at about 9 PM the night of the murder. A man had ditched the car and had waddled off. However, it was way too far from, the nearby CCTV to be like, oh my god, that's who did it. It just looks like pixels. That could be me. But, booty. The Porsche that had been stolen from Fabio's, and as I said, slap that hood, listen to the baby purr, it was his pride and joy. The killers had obviously used it as a getaway vehicle, but I mean, they were also burglars, stealing money, stealing jewelry. That had likely been their intention. So why would you take that car, which is valuable, and just abandon it? You'd think you would strip it for parts or something. Maybe they had just gotten spooked and were, whoo, I don't want to touch it. Interestingly, I mean, the police found it interesting, maybe you won't, was that the police did find little spatches and drops and dribs and drabs of blood in the Porsche. So that was for sure the killers, had used that. A lot of the blood, it was obviously Fabio's. I mean, they didn't do exactly a good job cleaning up after themselves. I mean, it was weird that there was vinegar found in the sink. The killers had obviously taken it out to use it to clean up, yet they didn't clean up shit. There was clearly blood all over their feet, dragging blood throughout the house and then into this Porsche. But when they tested all the blood found in those little pieces around the car, not all of it was Fabio's. Fabio had been stabbed to death with, a knife, and likely in a confrontation that violent, you can imagine how easy it would be for the killer to accidentally, stab themselves. Likely, maybe they were holding Fabio down with one hand, stabbing with the other, and they inadvertently nicked their own hand. It was like an assassination. They had held him down, stabbed him to death. I mean, Fabio didn't even have any, real defensive wounds on him. He didn't have a chance. He'd been just stabbed there as he sat in his chair. This had been an assassination of a beloved beauty executive. So, finding the killer's possible blood if they had accidentally stabbed themselves, maybe, and tried to clean up the wound using the vinegar, maybe that's why it was in the sink. They ran that blood, through the system. Maybe it could give them the first real possible lead in this case. And it did, if you can believe that. Now, it did take a good 3 weeks to get that name before it done dinged, but the name it brought back was sort of interesting. I mean, not really that interesting because the name was kind of, pretty regular ass name. But it led them down this unique little rabbit hole. See, the guy whose name it brought up, he had been in prison, hence why they had his DNA in the system. It's not funny, because he had been in prison for molesting his stepdaughter. Frickin' winner chicken dinner over here. His name was Rob Baker. It was his blood found in Fabio's car. It also matched blood found on the vinegar bottle in the house. Likely he was holding Fabio down, stabbing him with the other hand, cut himself, tried to clean it with the vinegar, didn't, got it in the car. Robert he's still sucking air to this day, he has a colourful, beautiful tapestry of history. And when I say beautiful, I mean the complete opposite. You know what, his history is sort of like a paint by numbers, where each colour is him doing some more horrific shit. So he started out in the military, grand. Then he became a recruiter for the military. Okay, fine. Then he got into sex work. He became a porn star. Nothing wrong with sex workers. Then he kind of nosedived into worse things. Because he sort of became like a pimp who would groom and target vulnerable women and drag them down with him. He starred in Many's a motion picture. And you know me, I'm a pretty thorough researcher, so I did force myself to check out a few of his flicks. He's pretty bad. As male fellas in the industry go, he's not great. I'm not gonna lie, folks. In the research for this video, it's actually wild how much I've seen his penis. And remember how he did prison time for molesting his stepdaughter? He was convicted in 1993, released in 1994, then went on to marry said stepdaughter, and then they got into porn. They started doing pornos together. Not the best. So that's already disturbing and creepy as all shit, and sleazy as all shit. Then he broke up with her, and yeah, he kind of started targeting a few more women, bringing them in, dragging them down right with him. He started in Many's a motion picture, if you can believe such a thing. I mean, I think that would count as pimping them out, right? Because he was sort of a pimp who would get his girlfriends into the sex industry, which, was kind of like grooming vulnerable women. Anyways, after that little, adventure, he did something even worse. He became a racquetball coach at West Hills LA Fitness. What a disgusting human being. So Robert Baker, this fella, interestingly, that was a name that had already been raised to the police. He had been seen at Fabio's wake, and he made such an impression on people, and he made people feel so uncomfortable that, like, they remembered him specifically and remarked upon him. He arrived, nobody knew who he was, but he clearly looked sleazy and shady. He seemed very close with Monica, and also noticeable was a bandage on his finger. He was right-handed. Had he used his right hand to stab Fabio to death, while holding his victim down with his left hand and accidentally sliced it open. And so how did Robert Baker know the Sementillis? Well, he just happens to be the racquetball coach at the gym both Fabio and Monica attended. Now, police didn't arrest him right away, though they could have. They had his DNA at the crime scene, both crime scenes, the house and the car. They wanted to find out a little bit more of, the exact relationship between the Sementillis and Rob Baker. After all, murder seemed to be the goal. The home invasion now seemed like it was just the cover. But what did Monica know about her racquetball coach? I think that they had been doing a little bit more than racquetballing together. They would question Monica multiple times, and she would, run through the days, and they were always questioning her, like, any differences in her story here and there, but she had it pretty nailed down. She would run through, the items that were missing, but the police, they were definitely more interested in her gym buddies, though, and, what she was getting up to in the showers over there.
Prior to Fabio's death, the only gym friends that have been in your house.
Oh my gosh. Let's see.
That is in.
Paula. Rob is our lead director for racquetball. I wasn't.
What's Rob's last name? Has Rob ever been in?
And Monica herself, she had a fair few questions, Rightly so, namely about as in, where is my life insurance money? When will I get it? And most importantly, why don't I have it right now?
I'm so angry. I can't. So much time has passed. It's possible. Possible.
Well, believe me, we would love to get this thing done as quick as we can.
Can you tell me why you can't rule out my children as suspects?
I can pretty much rule you guys out myself.
I don't care about the money. I don't care. I just care about that. They shouldn't be ruled out.
What if we never arrest anybody? What if, God forbid? And she mentioned, well, at the 1 year mark, we will take another look at it, and a lot of times they will pay out. So at the 1 year mark, if we haven't gotten any further, on this, then there's a chance that they'll pay it out.
Investigators put both Monica Sementilli and Rob Baker under surveillance to try and find out, were they in this together? Did Monica know Rob killed her husband? And there had been 2 people in the CCTV. They both seemed like males. Who was Rob's compadre? It didn't take long for investigators to see that Monica and Rob were pretty well acquainted. How long this affair had been going on for, whom knows, but clearly they'd been having a great time in the gym while Fabio was away doing work. They would follow the pair around and see them, get together in Rob's truck while he drove away to some remote parking lot. They'd get in the back seat and, Rob one pump chump. They were absolutely full of the Sementilli. Cut the tilly. Police even tracked them going on vacations to Vegas together, to dinner, to, the back of Rob's truck. How romantic. She'd gotten over Fabio's death pretty quickly, alright. Police also double-checked her story about the day of the murder, and she said she had, just run a few errands. However, police found CCTV of her in the Target parking lot, and a man getting into her truck. Could have been Rob, could have been the other fella. This is the day of the murder, and while she was shopping in Target, she was intently staring at her phone. This is right around the time it's believed intruders were breaking into her house, viciously murdering her husband? Was she watching the home security that she claimed she didn't have access to? Police did check the data usage on her phone, and she had been using a hell of a lot of data, which she would only use, to watch video. Then after she sees them successfully breaking in, she makes sure, get rid of that. Get rid of the DVR. The same day, after the murder, both Rob and Monica deleted Viber, an encrypted messenger app. Police believed that was enough and arrested both Rob Baker and Monica Sementilli while they were driving around together. And they were both charged with murder.
A stunning arrest nearly 5 months after a prominent hairstylist was murdered at his home.
The suspect is now his wife.
While in jail, both Rob Baker and Monica Sementilli, they were the undercover surveillance. It didn't stop. They were being recorded every single day by undercover cops posing as inmates.
I really didn't want the family to know about that, but I can't hide it now. I mean, it is what it is.
Oh, you didn't want them to know that I was like your lover, or?
Well, it was not just my lover. He was my confidant. He was everything. My husband traveled all the time. He was never home. Ever. Never.
Without a doubt, they have determined that Robert Baker was involved in Fabio murder.
That cannot be. That cannot be possible. Oh my God.
And Monica, she would admit she had been having an affair with Rob Baker, the man of her dreams, sex offender man of her dreams. Okay, but when she would be told, we believe Robert murdered Fabio, she would be like, you gotta be shitting me. They both pleaded not guilty. Years would go by with them inside. There was COVID, there was delays, and Rob and Monica still continued their affair in jail, with investigators watching them the entire time. They would write letters to each other all the time, and I'm talking like letters that were like pretty explicit, JO session material letters, but they would also say about how just madly and deeply in love they were with each other. Monica, she would sign off a lot of times like MB, Monica Baker, call her his wife. And police would make copies of these letters without Monica or Rob knowing, because they didn't want them knowing they were, under surveillance, hoping that they would just give them more and more about their conspiracy. They would call each other the love of their life. They would sign off letters with or D, ride or die. Robert had this picture with him, which is pretty cringe. Police would engineer phone calls between the two, which nearly always resulted in one or both whacking off.
You're already married to me already. I love you. You have no idea.
But why kill Fabio? Why hadn't Monica... we've seen the situation a million times before. Why kill? Just get a divorce. Just get a divorce. Well, a couple of reasons. Because, of course, Monica and Fabio, they were both Catholic. So they didn't believe divorce, shmovorce, not doing that. But more pertinently, 1.6 million. That's what Monica Sementilli was going to get if Fabio died, and of course she wouldn't get that if they divorced. And Rob, he was in his 50s. He was a racquetball coach at the local gym. Probably not breaking the bank with his income. So if she divorced Fabio, she would not have an arse in her trousers. She'd be up shit creek. She'd have nothing. However, they didn't have the other killer seen in the CCTV. Digging in, they cross-referenced who Monica and Rob had been talking to, any numbers which came up again and again and again, which eventually led, after months of cross-referencing, to a Chris Austin. Now, Chris Austin, they couldn't find any records of him in LA. So, what police did, they basically searched all flight records going in and out of LAX in the days before and the days after the murder of Fabio Sementilli, and it showed Chris Austin, the day before the murder, had flown in to LAX from Alaska, if you can believe such a thing. Who had picked him up at the airport? Rob Baker. And Chris was actually found to be in the area of the murder the day of. He got sighted while driving around a rental car. Chris Austin was brought in, and he admitted his role to the murder relatively quickly. It seems like it was just something he got caught up in. He had zero criminal history.
The reality is, given the evidence that we already had why you're arrested, you're not leaving today. I'm sorry? You are going to be charged. Right away, did Rob tell you where he was, or did you go roaming around and find him? Okay. How did you know that?
1, 2, 3, open the door when I did.
So when did the conversation about the insurance money come in?
Maybe a few weeks before.
He pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, and he got 16 years. In 2023, Rob Baker pleaded no contest. That's basically the same as pleading guilty. Rob wanted to fall on the sword, say Monica wasn't involved, and he would testify to that effect, that Monica was not involved, the love of his life was not involved, it was all him. He was sentenced to life without parole, though, so maybe you should have taken a deal there, Rob. Monica, however, was still saying nope, didn't do it. Sure, she was having an affair with her racquetball instructor, but she was not planning the murder of her beloved husband of 20 years. 20 years, she was not planning to kill him. Her trial began in 2025. And a sort of interesting twist was that the two believed killers, I mean, there was 3 people in the plot, but, 2 of them actually there the day of, Chris Austin and Rob Baker. Chris Austin, he would testify for the prosecution. Rob Baker would testify for the defense. Now, the trial was long. Like, really long. Like, it was super duper long. That's how long it was.
You wanted her for yourself?
I wanted her for myself, yeah. I wanted to be happy.
So when would you say you seriously decided that you were going to do this?
In January.
Rob Baker testified he murdered Fabio, and him alone. Monica had no knowledge. He did it so he could have Monica all to his lonesome.
You see the defendant seated over here, Monica Sementilli?
Yes.
You knew her well at the time of the murder, is that right?
Yes.
Is it fair to say you were in a romantic or sexual relationship with her?
Yes, you can say that.
Was that true?
Yes.
Did she have anything to do with the planning or the execution of the plan to kill Fabio Sementilli?
No.
You're sure?
I'm positive.
But everybody else would come forward and say, things were kind of like, weird in the days and the months leading up to the murder. People even believed that Fabio had been acting strange. Maybe he was on the verge of discovering his wife's affair and, knew something had to be done, which was kicking her the F out. But it was believed that Monica was the mastermind of the entire thing. Rob, sleazy Rob, he was just a stabby man. They'd gotten Chris simply to help them out in the plan. See, Rob had been friends with Chris Austin's father and had offered Chris $50,000. Rob, however, was the one who did the actual murdering. They had in fact planned on murdering Fabio the day before they actually went through with it. Monica had sent Fabio out to go and get takeout dinner, and so that was like, okay, we'll get him here. But Chris, he couldn't go through with it. So then the next day, Monica texts Rob saying he's home alone and that she's left the front door unlocked. At the end of the trial, Monica Sementilli was found guilty of the murder of Fabio. It took 9 hours for the jury to decide that. She was sentenced to life without parole.
Of the first degree. We further find the allegation that the murder of Fabio Sementilli was intentional and carried out by the defendant, Monica Sementilli, for financial gain within the meaning of Penal Code Section 190.2A1 to be true.
There is going to be a movie of this story. Sure as shit. For that, I guarantee. There definitely will be. And put me in it. Just put me in it. Sure, why not? I can be a sassy hairdresser any day of the week. I could be an ex-porn star. Okay, even I can't say that in this area. I'll be Monica Sementilli. Put me in a wig. I don't care. I just want to be in a movie. Because it's crazy. This story is batshit bananas. It is a twisted tale of greed and lust. I mean, the amount of whacking off in this story, it's next level. It's got to be up there. I mean, you got a porn star sex offender, you got a celebrity hairdresser, and you got a makeup artist to the stars. It's in LA, so it's disturbing as you think. So when you put that into a blender, you're left with just whatever the shit this story is. And don't search up Rob Baker on the dirty sites. You'll be disappointed. I promise you that. Thank you so much for watching, folks. It really means the world to me that you're here watching this whole video. Hope you enjoyed it. The next whole video will be up, on Tuesday or Friday or whenever it's up. I don't know when you're watching this. If you're looking for some more of That Chapter, though, please check out the That Chapter podcast, which is a brand new podcast exclusive episode every Monday, all podcast platforms for free. Or you can check out the That Chapter Patreon, where for $2 a month you get early access ad-free all videos. There's a Discord and a Patreon exclusive playlist of videos too. So, give it a go if you want. But I'll see you in the next video. So until then, please take care of each other, and please take care of yourselves. Because I love you. Mike out.